You've heard before, you are what you eat. I find that to be absolutely true. However, I'm not talking about food. Today, we're going to have an important conversation about other things that we consume. Hey there, welcome back to the Begin Within Health show. I am so absolutely honored to be able to be with you today, keeping this podcast in the top 5% of all podcasts on this planet Earth. Thank you. Thanks for watching, listening, commenting, subscribing, and following. And if you haven't done so already, please do so. Take the appropriate step, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on a podcast player. Make sure you follow the show, subscribe, and leave a comment. A rating and review helps so much as well. I appreciate it. Thank you. And if you're looking for some extra support, check out my 7-day program, absolutely free. I'm going to work personally with you for 7 days to help you get going, working out at home, and making some adjustments even to your health and nutrition in other ways. Free 7-day program, free opportunity. Pick my brain, ask away. Whatever equipment you have at home is just fine, and you do not need a credit card to get started. Check it out, beginwithin.fit/7-day. Come and work with me for the next week, and let's see what positive changes we can make. Now, I mentioned at the outset, you are what you eat, or rather, for the context of our conversation today, let's say this: you are what you consume. And I am the same, right? I am in this process with you very, very much. And what we're talking about when we say consume, let me give you this example. And this was a real life, true life example. A client and I were just talking about it today. She told me about a movie that she recently saw. And then she's like, "Do you watch movies?" And I said, "Sometimes, but not all that much." And that's kind of my response when people ask me about the shows that I might watch, or, "Hey, do you watch Netflix?" The answer is yes, I do. However, years ago, and this was when we were newly married, Amanda and I, we got into this habit. Like, we'd go to work, we'd come home, we'd have dinner, or we'd go out to dinner, and then we'd be back, sitting living room on the couch, and then we would watch things. And I think at that point we were probably just watching, some of the things that were maybe most popular. We I think we were relatively selective, but the day came when one night as I was headed off to bed, I remember thinking, "Wow, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about my internal state right now," right? After whatever it was that we had just watched. And you know what I'm talking about? It wasn't anything like super edgy, but maybe a bit suspenseful, maybe a bit of mystery detective-y. And I remember just kind of feeling like, oh, you know, where my mind has not been serving me very well, because I kind of feel yucky. I feel kind of gross. And I remember, we talked about it. It was like, why? Why would I choose to take something in that left me feeling that way? And again, this is like long ago for me, but it's still been kind of a transformational moment where I was like, hey, I'm going to be even more intentional. So what happens for me is that the things that I watch are usually what, old me anyway would have said, "That's pretty lame. It's not really that interesting." But to be honest, I would prefer maybe a little less interesting plot line and a little better feeling as I head off to bed. And again, we probably watch, 25% or less by comparison to, those original days when we were first married and we were just like, hey, after dinner, we just chill out. We'll watch stuff for a couple hours. But I remember thinking, man, uh, I can do a better job of selecting things that leave me in a better place. And that is exactly what I want to talk with you today about, because so much of what we consume is affecting our health one way or another. So just think back about the things that influenced you over the last 7 days. And honestly, there's so much, right? Social media, as we're scrolling, conversations that we've had with other humans, podcasts you listen to, things that you have read, they all leave us either a little bit better or maybe a little bit worse. It's really hard to interact with another person in any way, whether it's social media, podcast, conversation, and not be changed, not be better or worse, right? It's hard to just, I'm the same. I'm the same as I was before I listened to that podcast. I'm the same as I was before I read that article or that section of that book or watched that show. We are different. We're changed as a result of communication. And so things can either move us closer to the person that we want to be, or they can move us farther away from the person that we want to be. And so the question is, what about those things? Things that influence me, where do they take me? And that's not always an easy question to answer, honestly, because, we think you are what you eat is calories in, calories out, but the things that we consume informationally, communicationally, they affect who we are as well. It's that secondary consumption that's happening all day, every day. And maybe it's even more powerful, because doesn't it take a little while sometimes for you to, oh, I've been eating really healthy and now I feel healthy, versus some of those things that we consume, they can just, like I mentioned at the outset, that little story, they can change us. We can feel the difference right now if we're tuned into it. So what I want to do today is break down how this shapes health and our identity without us even realizing it sometimes. And I want to encourage you to listen all the way to the end, because I'm going to walk you through a simple 1-page audit that you can use right now this week to start taking control of the things that are shaping you and your health, sometimes without us even noticing it. And of course, as we dive into this, please remember along with me that health is something that is very nuanced, it's personal, it is built over time. And what we're talking about today is just one small piece of that process. But you know me, I love to go inside, talk about the things beneath the surface that are affecting our health. And I think this is a big one. So here's the truth. We're constantly absorbing and normalizing whatever surrounds us, not just once in a while, not just when we sit down in front of the TV, but constantly. It's the people around us, it's the content we consume, it's even our own thoughts that we repeat to ourselves, our self-talk. And it quietly changes us. And even our behavior might start to adjust to match some of those inputs, the things we're consuming, the social media, the people we're with, even the thoughts that we repeat. So if our environment is filled with people and messages that prioritize health, that talk about growth, that encourage us to take action, well, then that becomes normal. That becomes the baseline of the environment that we are in. But if our environment instead is filled with excuses, negativity, or indifference toward health, or the whatever kind of mindset, well, then that becomes the baseline as well. Which means that our environment is either quietly building within us a healthier identity, or it's quietly putting an end to our healthy identity. There's really no neutral. And I think we need to acknowledge that honestly. And it's probably something you're already aware of, even if you didn't really put it into words that are so specific, because you are here you're listening or watching, you're connecting with me. And as I've said many times, what I want this show to be is a moment in your week when you can just slow down and think about your health. It doesn't have to be specific to the topic that we discussed, but just an opportunity to just slow down, think about your health, where you're at, what could be better, what might you improve going forward. That process is so, so important. And so today we're thinking about, hey, how healthy is the environment that I am in control of creating for myself? Is it encouraging me to be better and healthier, or the opposite? So what do we need to do? Audit. Let's do a little influence audit. Let's talk about the different areas a little bit and get a little bit specific with them. And then, like I said, I'll give you the quick weekly audit that you can use now to check on your environment and look at adjustments that you might want to make. And like I said, I don't want to be in the glass house throwing stones. I have to do this myself from time to time. This is not just a one and done thing. This is ongoing. Pieces are always moving. Things are changing. Things are shifting. And so we have to constantly do an audit like this. We're going to look at 4 categories that I believe shape us maybe more than any other. And maybe there's some categories you can think of in addition to these. Throw them in the comments. I'd love to continue the discussion there. But I mentioned this one already a couple times. Huge. And this is something that maybe didn't exist so much 10, 20, 30 years ago. Social media. Let's start there. If you're watching on YouTube, that's where we're at right now. Who am I following, right? Who are you actually following? Whose content are you seeing? And more importantly, how do you feel after seeing it, after scrolling? Do you feel inspired? Do you feel motivated? Do you feel clear on what matters to you? Or do you feel distracted, discouraged? Do you feel stuck comparing yourself? Realize that we're being exposed to ideas, right? It's not just entertainment, but it's ideas that can influence us. And I realize this is a much bigger conversation, but let's try to keep it in the health lane for right now. And if you see other areas of your life where this could be having an impact, absolutely don't ignore those. But in terms of healthy, improving health, becoming healthier after I've been scrolling, the question to ask ourselves is, how do I feel? Do I feel encouraged, motivated, pumped up? Or do I feel yucky, gross? Have I been comparing myself and now I'm left feeling less than someone else? Or have I been built up, ready to go, ready to stick with becoming a healthier version of myself? What an important thing to stop and think about. And this has changed a bit. I don't know if you've noticed it. I sure have, because initially social media used to be about specifically who you follow, people that you had already connected with, friended, followed, whatever platform you were on, you would see their stuff. Now, that's not always the case. We tend to just see more of the type of thing that we've already given attention to or interacted with, whether we have previously connected with those people or not. And so now we might be seeing a lot of strangers as we're scrolling, but they might have a similar message to something that we've already engaged with, something that we've already watched, something we already stared at for even a moment. It's the algorithm of that social media platform is trying to show us more things to keep our attention, to keep us paying attention. So again, sometimes we're getting more of what we've interacted with, even if we don't necessarily choose it. And so that might be kind of a little bit of a wake up call for us. Say, oh, I'm seeing all this stuff that doesn't leave me feeling that great. Maybe it's because we've already engaged with similar things. and now we're just getting served more of something we spent our attention on. And so it might be not as easy as just, hey, who do I follow? But um, what have I been giving my precious attention to? And do I need to be a little bit quicker about reacting when I see something that isn't the type of thing that leaves me feeling healthier, better, more motivated? So, social media, that's one. Uh, Relationships, number two. Now, I realize this is a loaded topic as well. So many of your comments over the last few months as we've addressed health and relationships here on the show, that's been one of the things that is a touchy subject, if I might say that. And so maybe it's the thing that we need to give the most attention to. Maybe that's a signal there. But close relationships, right? The people that we allow to be closest to us. Now, of course, there's some relationships, maybe they don't leave us feeling the best, but there's not a lot we can do with it. But think about family, friends, coworkers, the people that we do have control over, how close we are to them in our life, how much interaction we have with them. Are they people that support us with our health? Or are they the individuals that maybe subtly or maybe directly undermine our health goals? And sometimes it's not all that obvious, right? It could be subtle. It could sound like, come on, one night of fun isn't gonna hurt. Or, oh boy, you've really changed. You're not the friend that I used to know. Or maybe you're taking your workouts a little too seriously. Maybe you're taking this health thing a little bit too seriously, right? Those kinds of things. They're not necessarily malicious. They're not meant to be hurtful, but how's it influencing us? How is it shifting us? Because we're going to become like the people that we're around. We know that. You've probably heard that before. And so, in terms of health, what are we doing to curate those relationships, the people that are closest to us, the people that we allow to be closest to us, if possible? Good things to ask, aren't they? Because wouldn't it be awesome if all the people we are closest to are people that were motivating and encouraging and inspiring us to become better, to become healthier? Here's another area, and it's what you're doing right now with this podcast and what you read, what you listen to, what you watch. Podcasts, books, articles, Netflix, streaming services, YouTube. Is it something that is moving us in a healthier direction? Or is it just confirming old habits that we didn't enjoy having or our old excuses? It is really easy to stay with content that feels comfortable to us. But sometimes growth happens from being challenged a little bit. And sometimes we can seek out intentionally things that do that. They give us a little challenge. They open our mind a little bit. Maybe instead of maybe the most exciting novel you can imagine, maybe instead we're reading a book about how nutrition influences our brain or something like that, right? And it encourages us to expand a little bit. It might not be the thing that we just cannot wait to read and we just can't put down, but are we investing our time and attention in areas that leave us feeling healthier? Consuming content that leaves us feeling better, right? That's what we read, listen to, and watch. And again, thanks for being here with me. I'm so grateful that you've allowed this show to be part of that for you as you're carefully curating. And then number 4, I mentioned this earlier, it's your self-talk, right? This one maybe this one is the most important because the other things could be happening without us, buying into the message that's being shared, but our self-talk, that is a powerful one because it never turns off. It's always with us. So the question is, what am I constantly saying to myself? What's the message that's going through my mind? I'm too busy. That's too extreme. I'll never be consistent. I've always been this way. I can't change. Or maybe for you, it's something even more harsh, more hurtful. But over time, the voice becomes reality. That's the reality that we accept. And what, even though it takes a lot of work to start making adjustments, maybe we need some help to do that. The real danger is in not noticing, not being aware of it. A lot of people never stop to question it. And so what in this context I'm encouraging you to do is just try to listen in. What's the voice saying? Is it helping to be healthier, motivating you, inspiring you truly, or leaving you less healthy? As we wrap up, I want to share with you one question that can make a big change. And you've heard it throughout this conversation across all 4 of these areas and other areas that you might be able to think of. Here it is. Is this moving me toward who I want to be? The healthy person I want to be? Or is it moving me away from that person? That's it. It's a simple question, but it's a powerful one. Because once you start asking that question consistently, it's hard to unsee the answers. It's hard to not be aware of the answers. So keep that question handy. Is this moving me toward the person I want to be, the healthy person I want to be, or away from it? And before I wrap up, one last thing. Sometimes people get stuck here because they think, okay, now do I need to delete all my social media? Do I need all new friends? Do I need to completely change everything? The answer is absolutely not. This isn't about cutting yourself off from everything. It's about small internal shifts. Maybe it's about unfollowing a few accounts and adding in some better ones. Maybe it's about setting more boundaries with different individuals rather than just like completely cutting them out of life. Maybe it's about adding in one extra podcast that you're going to listen to every week that's going to motivate and inspire and encourage you. Maybe it's about trying to be a better listener to that internal dialogue and then trying to flip the script when it's not serving you. It's not about a complete overhaul. You know that doesn't work anyway. Trying to change everything overnight. But it's about making a little shift and then heading in a brand new direction. Because small changes are going to lead to big changes. We're going to get the snowball rolling down the hill, and it's going to gain momentum. Making those small shifts. Then you can make more small shifts if you need to. But it will have an impact on your health and who you become. Now, earlier I told you that I was going to give you just a one quick audit that you can do this week. I'm going to do that in just a moment, but before I do, I want to make sure one quick step you take if you want a little bit of support. I mentioned this earlier, beginwithin.fit/7-day free 7-day program. Come on in, just give it a try. See how a little bit of extra support, having one more person in your life, or maybe just one person total in your life, supporting you, encouraging, motivating, and inspiring you can make a huge difference. Let's work together for the next 7 days. Hop over there, beginwithin.fit/7-day, and let's get started. Now, here's the 1-page audit that you can do this week. If this one thing you take from the episode, this is it. Just set aside a few minutes and put some thought into these 4 categories. Put this question across the top of the page. Is this moving me toward being healthier or less healthy? And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 underneath the question. Social media, close relationships, what I read and listen to, self-talk. those 1, 2, 3, 4, and just sit for a moment with each of them with that question. And then a bottom question. What might be the biggest change I can make right now that will move me in a healthier direction? That's it. Don't overthink it. No perfection. Just be honest. Be aware. When you see it clearly, you can start changing it. And of course, don't forget, health it's a personal thing. Find what works for you, not just what works for me. What works for me might not work for you. But figure out what works for you. Take note of it. Make adjustments as you go along. And keep taking good care of yourself. I'll talk with you again soon.